having a good day. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to say hello to everybody in here in the B1 family that's hanging out. This is drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. And so today we're going to talk about how a lot of the economic systems that exist in America and around the world started off in ancient Africa. And there's an extraordinary film that a lot of you really need to see. It's very deep, it's very rich, it's very powerful, it's very well done. And it's called Hapi, Hapi. And I happen to have Mr. Taaqiy Grant, who is the filmmaker who created Hapi. And I'd like to welcome my brother to the platform. How you doing today, man?
Hey, boys. How you doing? How's everything?
Everything is good. Everything's good. Now, you're in New York, right? Are you in Brooklyn?
No, Queens.
Queens, okay, Queens, nice. Well, shout out to you in Queens, man, and everybody greet this brother when you come through the door. He's a great filmmaker, and he's done a lot of great work for the community. So let's just start. I'll start from the beginning. I met you a few years ago, and you were working on Hapi, and you were working on Hapi for years. I mean, really putting in that work on this movie. Which, by the way, everybody who's watching, it's an excellent movie. I mean. It's the kind of movie that you could watch for the entertainment value, but also it's a movie that shows respect to the brilliant elders that we have in the community, the people that are not going to necessarily get play in Hollywood, but they should get play in the real Black Hollywood, which is people like yourself. And also it's tremendously powerful education in terms of what we can learn about ourselves and who we are. Tell us about Hapi. How would you describe that film? I know it's a passion project for you, but how would you, if I said, tell me about Hapi in 90 seconds, what would you say?
90 seconds. Well, Hapi is a film that deals with economic empowerment for our people. You know, Hapi started off as, originally I wanted to do something based on relationships, dealing with just the relationships of the kingdom of the now. But that was kind of, to me, I saw it almost as boring. And it happened, that notion came to me about 10 years ago. So a friend of mine's introduced an idea to do something about economics. And I said, you know what? That is something that we can do that's universal to all Black people, right? Hapi came on the heels of two previous films we did years ago. The first one was Nubia, The Untold Story. And the second one was The Tekken, Uncovering the Influence of Ancient Egypt. And those films were done back in the early 2000s, like 2006, 2008. So I took a long hiatus before I started making other films because I said I needed to do something that's going to reach more people. And the idea of the economic piece came up and I saw that as being a more universal discussion. And then we tied the economics into history. So it's economic empowerment through economic literacy. And that's exactly what Hapi is. And when we think about something that we need to do in terms of being, fighting for our liberation, one of the things that really comes up the most importantly is the economic piece. And Hapi kind of goes, I know I'm over the 90 seconds and I apologize for that. But Hapi goes deeper than that. We think of Hapi, we think of the three essential components of world civilization. That's economics, politics, and culture. And we look really deeply at those three. We know that Black people have money. We know that to some degree, we have some political influence. But we don't have is a cultural imperative, which gives us our deep values, which tells us who to spend our money with and how to spend it. You know what I'm saying? How to manage that money. And that's where the historical context comes in. That's where the cultural context come in, and that's what Hapi comes in, because Hapi marries all three of them together.
Okay, so you said, did you say economics, politics, and culture?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and they're all related. That's something everybody should understand. Economics and politics and culture. I mean, they're deeply related. You know.
Yes.
And I like the way you use culture to kind of understand that. I mean, the way it links to the value systems and choices that we make, my culture is going to determine whether or not I have wealth or don't have wealth, because if wealth is a part of my culture, then, leaving wealth to my children is going to be very important to me. Right. Or if I have a culture of spending all my money with Europeans, then that's what I'm going to do. And so that's why I think we have to be real careful about the music we take in, entertainment and all that, because they're creating a culture. They're creating a culture of, give it all away. Give it to find the nearest white man and give him all your money, and then you're supposed to cry about how broke you are, right? So let's talk about this film, and then I want to talk about your event in Detroit, because I think everybody needs to know about this summit, which is beautiful. So who's in this film that everybody needs to know about? Like, who should be our superheroes in the community? And I'm in the film. I'll just throw that out there. Don't mention me. I ain't important. I want all the other. I mean, you pulled together like it's like the Avengers. The way you pull together this powerhouse group of black thinkers. Tell us about who's in this film.
Well, first and foremost, we have Dr. Leonard Jeffries, who coined he called the pyramid analysis, which is economics, politics, and culture. You have Professor James Small, Dr. Julian Malveaux, Dr. Solange Ashby, Dr. Georgina Falou, Dr. Patricia Newton, the late Dr. Patricia Newton, who made her transition a couple years ago. Who else we have in the film? Dr. Akedi Amin, Mfudishi, Dr. Wade Nobles. It's the host of other people, and it's beautiful, the way that it came together, because we wanted to have, again, dealing with on even production side in terms of putting the film together. It was based on economics, politics, and culture. Having the politicians in there, Charles Berman, having the bankers in there, Ken Harris, who's the president of First Independence Bank in Detroit, yourself, Dr. Julian Malveaux, Dr. Georgina Falou. So it was a history of the economists. We had the politicians, and we also had the historians, the Dr. Jeffries, the Professor Smalls, the Rakiti Amis, and Fudishis, all those people together. So it was like a mix of those three principles together, not only in theory, but also in film, in terms of bringing them together into the production side.
Well, you know what? I was super impressed with not just the quality of the people that were in the film, but also the years. I mean, you put years into this, man. How many years did it take you to make this movie?
It took about, I would say, babe, about altogether 4 years. And I got to give a big shout out to the production side, Tuti Films. Brother Sihiru did a lot of work. He and I, side by side, did a lot of work on putting the film together. So definitely big shout out to him. He just did another project with Queen Afua, the Sacred Woman web series. People go check that out. See, there's a brilliant person, brilliant filmmaker. So definitely want to check that out. So the film really started, again, this is really important because this kind of ties into Detroit. The notion of the film for me started 10, 11 years ago on the heels of the other two films. Made Nubia, come out to Tekken. The third film was about to come out. I went to Egypt, tried to film it. It wasn't working. It was just basically historically based. And there was something about it that didn't resonate with me in terms of what we need as a people. Because we want to, in the sense, we want to reach a larger audience of people. We don't want to just talk to the geeks or the nerds, people like myself who just want to know about the history. There's black people out here who that doesn't really resonate. It should, but we need something that's going to be more universal for them. So about 3-4 years later, back in 2015, conversations with a close friend of mine who actually just recently made his transition as well, Brother Rock. He was like, what, Taaqiy, let's do something. You need to make another film. Tariq and them was already doing it. Amadeus Christ and them was doing it again. And I was like, you know what? I'm good. Let them have that lane. We're going to do something else. He just kept pushing. Every time I saw him, he just kept bringing it up. Then the conversation about economics came in. And as I started to think about it, I was like, well, shit. The reality is, if you're dealing with the relationships of kingdoms, their relationship has to be primarily, based on economics, because they need each other. They form a symbiotic relationship. That's what they do. They trade and they barter. And if there's any wars, generally the wars are going to be fought over like trade routes and things like that. So we were already talking about economics, but didn't really know it. Then I said, you know what? If we're going to do a film, it has to be something that has legs. It can't just be a film. It has to be something that can transition into a movement. And thus, before the film was even dropped, we was calling it the Hapi movement. You know what I'm saying? So this is where we are now. It's a real movement. And it's what just recently happening to us in Egypt with the conference shows us that this is a real movement and went beyond the film. So definitely want to give a shout out to everyone that's in the film, yourself and all people involved, people in the behind the scenes, Seed, everyone, Felicia, definitely a huge part of this. Brittany, people that are really now who are part of this movement. It's a fantastic thing and it's beautiful.
Well, I'll tell you what, it is fantastic, and everybody who just came in, I'm speaking with Taaqiy Grant. He's the creator of a great film that everybody should see called Hapi. And the website is hapifilm.com. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And everybody should support this film. We talk about building a Black-owned movie industry. And so I hope everybody who believes in that will go and take a look and give the project a chance. I think that, when we talk about things that should be like required reading, required viewing for our kids, this is right up there. This is and it's crazy. We we feel like everybody has got to watch BET and Medea movies and all that. Well, in between the Medea movies, watch something that's really going to tell you who the hell you are. You did not arrive in this country as a man in a dress, or as a rapper with a gun on his hip. Like you were so much more than that. And what I loved about this film is you went around the world shooting this project. I mean, you went, name some of the countries you went to, in just different sets and scenes and places. I mean, just you even came all the way to my house. Not that was like going to another country, but I don't live like right in the city. You had to really make a long drive even to get to me. And the day we shot, where are some of the places that you shot for this project?
Well, Egypt twice, Ghana, Rome, and all throughout the United States. New York, of course, did a lot of shooting in New York, New Jersey, Philly, Atlanta, Chicago, LA. Actually, no, not LA, Oakland. But yeah, we definitely was around, and it took some time. And really, the time piece had to do with the economic piece. Always tying it back to economics, right? So it just to really put it together in the time we had to do it was something that we had to pace ourselves in a way to do it right, to get it to where we wanted it to be, so that we can kind of have it transition into the Hapi movement, or to fuel the movement, fuel the Hapi Talks podcast, fuel the Hapi newsletter, everything that we're doing, and fuel the One Africa. Initially, we have returned to the source, but now it's the One Africa Power and Unity Conference in Detroit. So all these things started with the film as being the foundation. And as we had a strong foundation, we was able to build upon that and move into other aspects of the Hapi movement.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you, man. I remember, let me say this. I see a lot of people making a lot of films, and the quality varies, and the motivation varies, right? And what I saw with this film was I saw that you were approaching it as an artist, as a scholar. An artist, a great artist, will take their time to do it right, and I want everybody to appreciate that when they go watch the film. I could tell how much time it took to create it. So tell me, so this event in Detroit that you're having, is it the One Africa Unity and Power Conference? Is that the
Power and Unity?
Power and Unity Conference, right? Now,
Power
I wish I could be there. I'm actually going. I was scheduled to go support King Randall, and Rizza Islam is going to be down at the I'm a Man March in Georgia, and so I'm headed down their way. But actually, maybe I'm wondering if I could have done both, because I think Rizza's doing both or something like that. And so, but you know what? But the lineup that you had is really good. I know you did invite my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. I know she'll be there. Name some of the other people that will be speaking in Detroit.
So we have Bayana Bello, Rizza Islam, as we said, who will be virtual, Jabari Azaze, Dr. Theophilo Benga, Dr. Susan Tata, Asar Hotep, Brother Kaba Kamene, Infoducci, Dr. Jeffries, Dr. Roslyn Jeffries, Dr. Ken Harris, who will be the host,
yes.
Dr. Maulana Karenga, who will be virtual, Dr. Professor James Small, Shahrazad Ali as well, and Dr. Alicia Watkins.
Wow. Oh, okay. So Rizza's virtual. Okay. So now I don't feel so bad. I thought that I was like, well, wait a minute. Maybe I could have made both, because I really wanted to be there. Because I just, it's something that I really think as Black people, we got to understand what we're missing. What we, and by the way, anybody who wants to pass or wants to go to the event, that you can actually find the tickets at boycewatkins.com. I listed them on my website, and also I'm going to share a link in the chat where you can actually buy a virtual pass, and make sure you get on the email list. And I'll also email the pass out if you go. Let me see if I can put this in the chat. I'm gonna try my best. I usually get stuff like this wrong, but I know some of you would like to get a chance to come to the event. So here is a link to. There's a link to the virtual event. And if you want a link to the physical event, you can just go to boycewatkins.com. I have it right there if you live in Detroit. And I encourage you to actually show up and be there, because, because the thing is, you see events all the time where it's just, Black people getting together to do something. We'll get together to do a basketball game or have a party, or maybe it's like an economic empowerment summit, which might be something better and more educational, or a networking event. All those things are cool. All those things are good. what I like about this is that this is really doing a couple things I really admire. One, it's really allowing us to create our own superheroes. You know, it's taking those elders that are amazing, like I mean, like just life changing. Dr. Leonard Jeffries and Kaba Kameni and others that just are so extraordinary. Or Kaba Kabane, did I say it right?
Yes.
I hope I hope I didn't mispronounce it. But you know, and then Dr. Ken Harris and just these people. You know, think about it. These people should be more well known than than some of these idiots in entertainment. I'm not saying I'm not dissing them, but seriously, why the hell is it black people? See, I'm getting triggered right now because I'm thinking about this, man. Why is it that you know more about Lizzo than you know about scholars that actually can tell you about how great your people were before they got to the United States?
That goes back to the economics, politics, and culture piece. The
Please,
culture imperative that we deal with.
Elaborate, because I'm gonna stop talking because I'm starting to get triggered right now.
The deep values that we have are European values. Thus, we spend our money with Europeans, or the Asian values. Thus, we spend our money with Asians. If we valued who we are, then we would have a more impetus to kind of direct ourselves towards things that deal with our upliftment. So when we think about the One Africa Power and Unity Conference, I just wanted to take it a step back for a second. It's a conference. We also have the Happy Gala as well, Saturday night. Dress your best, come have a good time, interact. And it's also a networking event as well. So we have the conference on Saturday, we have the gala Saturday night, and we have the second day of the conference on Sunday. April 30th for the conference, between 8 and 12 for the gala. Conference starts at 9 a.m., ends at 6 on Saturday. April 30th. On May 1st, it's 11 to 7 p.m. It's at the DoubleTree Hotel in Detroit. People in the area, Midwest area, please come out. Like Dr. B said, if you can't do that, you might also want to just do the live stream. Live stream is going to be powerful. If you can't make it to Detroit, there's a live stream option for people to watch all throughout the world. And we just want to just take it back to the history of it, because this is the most important thing. This conference it's not just a conference. Let's just put that out there first. The conference was originally scheduled to be in Egypt on February 25th and 26th. We had about 200 people ready to go. Then all of a sudden there was a group online that started to have this anti-push what the conference was about. And the book group was called, Afrocentrism Debunked. And once that started, the hashtag to stop the Afrocentric conference started. And it got to a point where major news media outlets like Al Jazeera, CNN kind of picked up the story. It was in all the major newspapers all throughout Egypt. And this is something that became kind of huge, to the point where we had to cancel and move the conference to the United States. But one thing that it told me is that what we're doing is right and exact, and people are afraid. So the other part of this is that this group of the Afrocentrism Debunked is not just, it's a group of everyone from around the world. People just don't want us to tell our story. And this whole cancel culture thing really permeated to the point where we had to pivot. Now, one of the things about the conference in Detroit, which to me is even more, they did us a favor, because instead of just talking about the historical content we was talking about in Egypt, we actually shifted to a more universal discussion. That's why we changed it from returning to the source to power and unity. And we think about the power of unity, we talk about unity in our Black dollars, unity in our families, unity in our community. That's why we brought in people like your wife and Shahrazad Ali to talk about just Black love. That wasn't something we were talking about in Egypt. Egypt was just going to be an academic-based conversation on the correlations of the kingdoms of Africa and how they related linguistically, artistically, and turn it back to the source, which is the Nile. So now we moved from that to a universal discussion. This is almost, in a sense, Happy 2.0 for me, because we have a more universal dialogue where people need to understand who they are. And someone who may not be interested in a history piece will hear Dr. Ken Harris give a presentation on economics in Detroit. You understand what I'm saying? We'll hear your wife and hear Charles Ali talk about Black love. This is stuff we weren't going to talk about in Egypt, but now these things we're talking about here. So this cancel culture propelled us forward. You know what I'm saying? They feel they can silence us and stop Black people from doing what they do when we have to do. And even what, interestingly enough, another note to add to that is at the same time we were promoting the conference in Egypt, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which is one of the largest museums in the world, put up an exhibit called African Origins of Civilization, which dealt the exact same thing we were talking about in the sense of these cultures being aligned with one another. So if you go to the exhibit, it has the Egyptian art next to Yoruba art, and so forth and so on, showing the connectivity of cultures. This is something that was done by the work of the great Sheikh Anta Diop back in the 70s. So, if anyone wants to see the attack, all the stuff is still on our page, happyfilm.com, on Facebook. Even recently, we put up a post about the conference. People are still kind of chiming in, running their mouths. And it's funny because I look at it like this. People say, well, you're going to respond to them. I'm not going to respond to them because we don't have to validate ourselves to them. We're going to stop doing that.
What are they complaining about?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of lies. They were saying we were coming and start trouble. We were coming and start some type of revolution. Our conference was contained to our people. There was no outsiders involved. When it was people just really on the trip. And that was it. It wasn't about anything like that. So once the lies started, it started picking up this momentum, and more momentum it got. You know what I mean? Then it just came kind of problematic, and it made some people nervous. And I just have to add also that the Egyptian government never told us not to do it there. It was something that people that we were involved with just didn't feel like it was the right thing to do. So we switched it from there to Detroit. And from there, the theme also changed from returning to the source to power and unity, because we know that whatever we're going to do, we're going to have to stand together to be successful. And in that power and unity conference, we added in people again who wasn't originally a part of that original bill and lineup. So it's a more powerful discussion. So in a sense, everything kind of worked out the way it was supposed to.
Well, it always does. And cancel culture. You got to go through experiences with it, but and sometimes words can be hurtful and all that, but then eventually you realize that words ain't shit. It's just people just doing this, and then I know that as many times as I can think when people tried to cancel me for this and cancel me for that. If you go back to the economic piece you were talking about, if you're economically independent, 9 times out of 10 you don't have to respond to any of that. Right. I remember, I'll give you one example that was national. I remember watching how Ice Cube responded when they were giving him so much grief about challenging Joe Biden. And I mean, people weren't just attacking him online and he was being canceled and losing money and everything else, but also they were just making out flat out lies. SNL did a whole skit making him into a Trump supporter, and he never was a Trump supporter. And I talked to him on the phone, and I was just like, "Yeah, all right, man. So how you handling all this?" And it was almost like he didn't even know what was happening. He literally was like, "I don't care." And that was when I said, "Okay, this guy's built different." It ain't like you get these guys are apologizing and apologizing on top of the apology, and all that. He just kind of went on about his day. It's like whatever, And I think, and in fact, I think at that time he wrote a song that I don't know a lot of people heard of it, but one of the lyrics he's basically said, "You can't cancel a soldier."
Right. Right.
Like if you're serious about what you're trying to do, it's hard for people to cancel you, especially if you know how to be economically independent and clear about who you are. And this is the reason why everybody watching should just give me a yes in the chat if you can at least promise me you'll go to the website happyfilm.com and just take a look at the film and consider possibly getting a copy for your family. And I'll put the link and I'll put the link to the conference as well if you guys want to participate in that. But just let's publicly acknowledge that we're going to do something to support this kind of thing, because the reason that I feel passionately about supporting what's going on with this project, and boycewatkins.com is where you can go if you want to get a pass for Detroit this week. And also I'll put a link in the chat if you want to do the virtual thing for the conference. We'll give you all those links. But here's the deal, right? This film is important because this film gives you something that you will never get in public school. You'll never get in American media. You won't get from 90% of these weak, raggedy Negroes that exist out here in this world. They're telling you who the hell you are. Like they're giving you a piece of who you are that you're not, like you don't get that when they tell you about people who march with Dr. King, or when they talk about, some rapper you saw on TV or whatever. That's not who you are. That's just who you think you are because you don't know who you are. So when I hear some of these brilliant scholars that you mentioned talking about things that happen in ancient Kemet, 30,000 years ago, it gets me pumped up. Like, whoa, wait a minute, or a Kush, and these great kingdoms we had, and these great things we were doing before we became slaves. I encourage everybody in this room to realize that that's really who you are. Find out who you were before the white man put a label on your black ass.
Right. And the beautiful thing about Hapi's a journey through time. Hapi actually starts now. It goes back again 10,000 years, and it brings us back full circle to where we are today. The end of the film deals with solution-based content. And that's the important thing. It's not just the history piece, it's the economics, politics, and the culture. It's all three. So what we did was just marry it in and really bring it full circle, something that, again, more importantly, that can resonate with everyone. I just want to take a step back also to talk about the conference. Again, what I'm dubbing now is Hapi 2.0, which is in terms of the collection of brilliant minds and the various discussions of how we can bring the economics, politics, and culture in together into one discussion, because it's important. And when we don't have, if any one of those are missing, we're missing everything. But what happened in February, it didn't just happen to, Hapi, it didn't just happen to Taaqiy, it happened to all of us, because they tried to silence the black voice. They try to silence the fact that we were speaking up for who we are, and the fact that we are telling the world we know who we are and we know what our history is. That's the important thing. And I just want to make that clear. And this attack didn't just happen to us, it happened to everybody. So people coming to the conference, supporting the conference, understands that this Power and Unity conference, that's why it was changed, return to the source, to One Africa, Power and Unity, because we have to stand together. You understand what I'm saying? So it's really, really important that we understand. And I really want to, mentioned something about soldiers. We have a powerful team of people around us, from the various scholars that you mentioned, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Professor James Small. They're soldiers. My sister Felicia, Brittany, these people are real soldiers. And we turned this thing around quickly. From the end of beginning of March, because that's what really happened. The conference was scheduled for February 25th and 26th. So we were still reeling in what was going on, but we turned it around so fast. I don't think they understood what really happened. Now that we turned it around, we also expanded the dialogue. We also expanded the narrative. We also made it more universal. So again, instead of just returning, One Africa returns to the source, now it's One Africa, Power and Unity in the black community, black family, and with your black dollars. All
right. So before I let Taaqiy Grant go, Taaqiy Grant is the creator of the new film called Hapi that everybody should take a look at. Well, it's not new. It's not super new, but it's been out there a little bit. But everybody, it's new to us, right? We should all check this out. You can go to hapifilm.com and find a copy. Now, I see some of you mentioned, let's see, Trinity says, I don't see where I can get a copy. So I don't know. I haven't been to the website, hapifilm.com, but I assume if there's not like a big link that says buy the film here.
No, so I'm sorry. So when they go to the website, all they have to do is go to the merchandise page, and they can either get a DVD, or they can get the digital copy as well. So they can stream it. They can take that stream. They can download that stream, or they can just watch that stream anywhere they are, anywhere in the world. So definitely hapifilm.com merchandise page.
And also, just me thinking out loud, I'm looking at the site. Yeah, brother. My thought too, man, is, like, if you sell the film, I will put on that first page, like, get a copy of the film here. It's just but it looks like you're marketing the conference, which I think which makes sense. Okay, got it.
So before the conference, the film was right there front and center, but the conference is what we're doing right now, what we're pushing.
Makes perfect sense. Okay, so everybody, this event that's happening in Detroit, I am if you go to boycewatkins.com, if you want to go to the event live, I've got passes right there on my site, actually. And also, I'll put a link in the chat if you want to go attend virtually, or you can get on our email list. And this is just, some of the amazing guests that are at the event. You've got Dr. Maulana Karenga, Bayina Bello. I hope I said that correct.
Yes, you said it right.
Okay, Dr. Leonard Jeffries. You've got some real giants here. Professor James Small. My goodness, that's a bad boy. Dr. Rosalind Jeffries. Dr. Ken Harris, who isn't just an expert in economics. His doctorate's in economics, but he also studied Africana studies as well. He's deep in that as well. So he's super, super sharp, brother, and runs a big organization of Black-owned businesses all throughout the country. I want to say it's called the Black Business League.
National Black Business League. Yes. National Business League, excuse me.
Yes, and there's my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. She's a licensed therapist, full professor of social work. She'll be there. Rizza Islam, the one and only. Dr. Theophile Obenga.
Yes, Obenga, yes.
Jabari Osazi, Asar Imhotep, So you got a lot of great Scheherazade Ali, just so many amazing people. So so I'm gonna put this link one more time. It should appear under my name where you can actually get the virtual pass if that's what you like. And also, I'm gonna keep sending out emails about the conference as well. So make sure you get on the email list so we can let you guys know about that. Plus, the I Am a Man conference is happening in Albany, Georgia, if you happen to live down that way. And so if you go to blackmoneyminute.com and you can actually get a free e-copy of my book on how to invest in the stock market with $5 a day. But also you can get I'll email you guys information about the events and everything we have going on here. So so I will say thank you, brother. It was great to see you again, man.
Likewise, thank you, and thanks to Ren also. That's my peoples.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, and thank you all for watching and hanging out with us. And later on tonight, I'm going to have Sharice Lane on the platform. Sharice caused some controversy. It popped up on the Shade Room, where she made an interesting remark about she compared Lizzo to Jill Scott. I think Lizzo had complained that guys don't want to date women like her or something like that. And Sharice came back and said, it's not your weight, it is your class. You are not a classy black woman, and that makes you different from women who try to present themselves in a classy way. So I'm going to bring her on to help her elaborate her comments, because the media will smash somebody who doesn't go along with the existing narrative. But Sharice, I've known her for a long time. She's a smart young woman, and I want to give her a chance to have her voice heard, just like all the celebrities. So she'll be on later on tonight on Dr. Boyce TV. We're going to have her on at 8 p.m. Eastern. So everybody have a good day. God bless you. We love you. And thanks again, Taaqiy, man. It's great to see you, brother.
Likewise. Peace.
Talk to y'all soon. Peace.